that was as much a part of his life as his own heartbeat. The rain began to pelt him, running down his long white hair. He ignored it. The inhabitants of Cachalot's floating towns had water next to their skin as often as air. Here near the equator, the fat drops were warm, almost hot on his bare upper chest. They rolled down from his bald forehead and itched in his drooping mustache. The pole communicated with his fingers. He lifted it. A small yellow fish wriggled attractively on the hook, its 4 blue eyes staring dully into the unfamiliar medium in which it now found itself. Mustafa debated whether to unhook it, decided the fish would serve him better as bait for larger game. He let the fresh catch drop back into the water. An electronic collar would have drawn more food fish than he could have carried, but such a device would have seemed incongruous, functioning in tandem with the hook and line. Mustafa enjoyed fishing in the traditional way. He did not fish for food, but for life. An occasional flash of awkward lightning illuminated the dark underbelly of the storm, forming drainage systems in the sky. The flare made candle flames of the wave crests. He knew there was more heat than fury in the discharges. The frequency told him the storm would not last long, nor was it the season of the heavy rains. Occasional drops continued to wet him. He was alone on the dock. 30 minutes, he thought, and the sun will be out again. No more than that. Perhaps then I will have more luck. So he stayed there in his shorts and mustache and waited patiently for a bite. Some thought the pose and activity undignified for the town's computer planner emeritus, but that did not bother Mustafa. He was wise enough to know that madness and old age excuse a multitude of eccentricities, and he had something of both. A few deserted gathering ships, sleek vessels wide of beam, were secured 2 docks away from him. A couple of magnetically anchored skimmers bobbed off to his right. Their crews would be on their week of off-duty, he reflected, home with family, or carousing contentedly in the town's relaxation center. An affectionate but uncompromising type, Mustafa, in his early years, had tried life with 2 different women. They had left more scars on him than all the carnivores he had battled in the name of increasing the town's catch. His reverie was interrupted by a new, stronger tug at the line. His attention focused on where it intersected the surface. The tug came again, insistent, and the antenna pole curved seaward in a wide arc, its far end pointing like a hunting dog down into the water. Mustafa held tight to the metal pole, began cranking the homemade reel. There was a lot of line, and it was behaving oddly. It was almost as if something were entangled in the line itself, not fighting the grip of the hook. The shape was barely visible down in the dark water. Whatever it was moving very quickly. It came nearer, growing until it was altogether too large. The old man's eyes grew wide above the gray mustache. He flung away the pole and the laboriously fashioned reel. The rod bounced once on the end of the bobbing pier before tumbling into the water. Mustafa ignored it as he ran toward the town. His raised voice was matched by the sudden cry of the town's defense sirens. He did not make it beyond the end of the pier. As it turned out, it would not have made any difference if he had. 2 days later, the first of Rorqual Town's wandering fisher fleet returned. A gatherer loaded several heads high with the magical Corrine plant and many crates of Slesset of the permanent spice. The wealth the cargo represented was now rendered meaningless to the men and women of the ship's crew by what they did not find. Though they crossed and recrossed anxiously and tearfully above Swinburne Shoals, they found no sign of Mustafa Ali. Nor did they find their families or sweethearts. Not a single one of the 800 inhabitants of Rorqual Town. Shattered bits of household goods, a few scraps of clothing, fragments of homes, and pieces of families mixed in with chunks of gray-white eggshell polymer